Everyone expected my graduation to be the proudest moment of my life. But when my name was called, my sister stood up in front of thousands and screamed, "She cheated. She doesn't deserve that diploma." The entire auditorium froze, and in that silence, I realized someone wanted to destroy me long before I ever stepped onto that stage. My heels echoed against the polished auditorium floor as I walked backstage. My palms damp, my heart thumping hard enough to shake my ribs. It wasn't just graduation day. It was the one day I had prayed would rewrite the story of my life. A clean page. A fresh start. A moment where, maybe for once, my family would look at me with something other than comparison. My name is Mira Lawson, and I had worked for 4 relentless years to reach this day. 4 years of sleepless nights. 4 years of being doubted. 4 years of carrying my own weight while pretending the whispers didn't hurt. I adjusted my gown, inhaling the warm smell of fresh fabric. Students around me were buzzing with excitement, taking photos, hugging their parents. My friends insisted we take a picture, but my thoughts floated somewhere else. My older sister Ria was sitting in the audience. Ria, the golden child. Ria, the one who always won. Ria, the girl whose shadow I was expected to live in. If she breathed, it was a success. If I breathed, it was a mistake. But today was supposed to shift something. The faculty lined us up. The dean's voice echoed through the hall as one by one, names were called to collect diplomas. Applause rose and fell like waves. When the student in front of me walked forward, I rubbed my trembling fingers together, trying to calm the storm in my chest. Then I heard it. Next, graduating with honors. Mira Lawson. My breath caught. This was it. My moment. The crowd began clapping, hesitant at first, then louder. I stepped out, the spotlight hitting my face like a warm sunrise. I felt tears sting the corners of my eyes. I could see shapes of people, flashes from cameras, blurry silhouettes of proud families. And somewhere in the center section, I saw her. Ria, straight-spined, cold expression, arms crossed as if my success personally insulted her. I ignored the tightness in my chest and kept walking. But before my foot reached the first step of the stage, a sound sliced through the applause like a blade. A voice, sharp, bitter, furious. "Stop!" The entire room froze. A ripple of confusion spread. Heads turned. Whispers rose like wind. And then she stood. My sister. Her chair screeched loudly against the floor as she pushed herself up, eyes blazing with a kind of rage I didn't recognize. She pointed at me. Not the casual point of irritation. The pointed finger of accusation. Her voice cracked through the silence. She cheated. A gasp rolled across the auditorium. The dean stiffened. The applause died instantly. Someone dropped their phone. Another student muttered, "What the hell?" My legs turned to cement. Ria stepped into the aisle, her voice growing louder, stronger, clearer, as if she had been waiting to say this for a long time. She cheated in her exams. She hacked the grading system. She doesn't deserve honors. She doesn't deserve that diploma at all. My breath shattered. A roar of murmurs erupted across the hall. Some people stared at me with shock, others with disgust, others with pity. A hollow feeling crawled up my throat. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't an emotional outburst. This was planned. The dean looked at me, eyebrows raised, unsure whether to continue the ceremony or stop it entirely. I felt the eyes of hundreds drilling into my skin. My ears were ringing. My heart had forgotten how to beat normally. My mother buried her face in her hands. My father sat frozen, jaw locked, as if he too had heard this rumor before. But I was the one who could barely breathe. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. Ria wasn't finished. She took another step, her heels hammering the floor. "Tell them, Mira," she screamed. "Tell them you cheated. Tell them you don't deserve this degree." I felt the sting of tears building, but not from guilt. From betrayal. Deep, sharp betrayal. Because Ria knew me. She knew what I sacrificed. She knew the nights I studied until dawn, the days I skipped meals, the hours I spent tutoring others just to afford my textbooks. She knew the truth. So why was she doing this? I swallowed hard and found a small thread of strength in my throat. "Ria, what are you talking about?" My voice trembled. "Why would you?" But she cut me off immediately. Her voice rose into a roar. "Don't lie." Silence dropped again. She held up her phone, waving it like it contained proof of my sins. "I have messages," she said breathlessly. "I have chats, screenshots, everything. Mira cheated. She doesn't deserve to stand on that stage." My knees weakened. Messages? Screenshots? I had no idea what she was talking about. The dean gestured for security to wait, to not approach but be alert. My friend Liam rushed toward me from the backstage curtain, whispering urgently, "Mira, don't panic. Don't say anything yet. Something's off." Something was off. Very off. But before I could even process a single thought, my sister continued, her voice cracking dramatically. "Tell them how you stole my login," she shouted. Tell them how you accessed the professor's portal. Tell them how you sabotaged my project last semester. Just so you could get ahead. The crowd gasped again. This time, people weren't murmuring. They were judging. I could feel the judgment crawling over my skin like insects. My stomach twisted violently. I had never done any of this. Not a single thing she said was true. But Rhea wasn't just accusing me. She was performing. Her voice trembled as she added a sob, covering her face. I didn't want to expose her. But I can't let the university reward a cheater. The dean finally stepped forward. Miss Lawson, he said carefully, these are serious allegations. We cannot proceed unless we... But the crowd wasn't waiting for official statements. Whispers had evolved into rumors. Rumors were morphing into beliefs. I could see people pulling out their phones, recording, tweeting, posting. My moment, my one chance, was crumbling into dust right in front of me, and the person pushing it into the ground was my own sister. I forced my shaking legs to step toward her. Why? My voice cracked. Why are you doing this to me? Her jaw tightened, but her eyes flashed. Not guilt, not regret. Jealousy, a jealousy I had never fully seen before. A jealousy that now looked feral. You think you deserve more than me? She hissed. You think you get to succeed while I... She stopped mid-sentence, but she had said enough. The truth wasn't that I cheated. The truth was that she couldn't stand the thought of me finally shining. The dean raised his hand. Security, please escort both Miss Mira Lawson and her sister backstage. We will sort this out away from the audience. The crowd buzzed louder. A security guard approached me gently. Ma'am, please come with us. My heart hammered. My breath shallow. My fingers numb. I didn't fight. I didn't speak. I simply walked. Because deep in my gut, beneath the humiliation and shock, a different feeling began to rise. A quiet, burning, furious resolve. Something wasn't just wrong. Something was set up. Someone had planned this. Someone had fed Rhea a script. Someone had twisted her against me. And I was going to find out who. Because this wasn't the end of my graduation. This was the beginning of a truth that would shatter everything. I stood there, feeling the weight of every stare burning into my back. But now it was time to end everything once and for all. I took one slow breath. And then I walked back toward the stage, not running, not shaking, walking. Calm, steady, almost cold. Because I already knew what truth I was about to reveal. I already knew this was the moment that would decide everything. The auditorium dropped into silence again, like the whole room forgot how to breathe. My sister, Clara, stood frozen in the aisle where she had screamed her accusation. Her face was pale, her hands trembling, her eyes refusing to meet mine. I reached the microphone. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't even look at her. I simply said, "Let me tell you what really happened." And the room leaned forward. Clara tried to cut in. Her voice cracked. "Liam, don't. But my voice came out firm, sharper than I expected. You already made your move. Now it's my turn. Clara's knees seemed to weaken. She clutched the railing beside her, her confidence dissolving like sugar in rain. I continued, each word slow, controlled, cutting with precision. 2 months ago, my laptop disappeared from my dorm room. The audience tensed. I thought I misplaced it. I thought I was just exhausted from final exams. I thought maybe I left it in the library, but I didn't. My eyes finally lifted to meet Clara's. Her lips parted. She looked like she wanted to run. You took it, Clara. A gasp rippled through the seats like a wave. My mother pressed her hand against her chest. My father shut his eyes. My classmates whispered in disbelief. But I wasn't done. You didn't just steal it, I continued. You broke into my email. You downloaded my assignments. And you sent an edited version of them to the dean claiming I plagiarized. The audience went still, suspended between shock and outrage. Clara shook her head violently, tears forming. No, Liam, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. My voice cut her off, merciless now. You wanted the scholarship. You wanted the internship. You wanted Mom and Dad to say you were the golden one. My throat tightened, but I didn't stop. You wanted to destroy me because you thought I was in your way. At that moment, Clara finally broke. She sobbed so hard her shoulders shook. Her friends tried to reach for her, but she jerked away, horrified by her own reflection in their eyes. But the truth wasn't finished. Not yet. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a folded paper, simple, white, unassuming, but deadly. This, I said, holding it up, is the results of the investigation the school conducted. Gasps again. Clara's hands flew to her mouth. The IT department traced the login, the timestamps, the device, the IP address. My voice grew cold. And everything led back to you, Clara. My parents stared at her. My mother's face collapsed into devastation. My father looked like he couldn't decide whether to sit or stand. Clara sank to the floor, her body shaking violently. But I still wasn't finished. I looked at the dean, seated right in the front row. "Dean Whitmore," I said calmly. "You asked me to stay silent until graduation was over. You said you would handle it privately. But she forced this into the light tonight." The dean nodded gravely. "I did. And since Miss Clara Reynolds chose to accuse you publicly—" He paused, letting the audience lean forward again. "We will clear your name publicly as well." The room erupted, the shock, the anger, the relief, all tangled together. Clara covered her ears as if she could block out the entire world. But there was still one last twist. And this one changed everything. I turned back to the audience. "I don't hate my sister," I said softly. "And I didn't want revenge." I glanced down at the paper again. But the truth doesn't disappear just because someone is afraid of it. And then I handed the investigation report to the dean. He took the microphone, his voice firm, echoing across the hall. "This student, Liam Hartley, did not cheat. He did not plagiarize. He is fully cleared of all accusations. And the real perpetrator has confessed through digital evidence." My classmates burst into applause. My professors nodded. My parents stared at Clara in disbelief. But I didn't smile. I couldn't. Because the truth never feels like victory when the person who betrayed you is someone you once loved without question. Clara finally stood, wiping her face with trembling fingers. She walked to the stage slowly, every step heavy and hesitant. When she reached me, she whispered, "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just wanted them to notice me." My chest tightened painfully. "We're all broken in different ways," I said quietly. "But you shattered me to feel whole." Her tears doubled. Her hands shook as she backed away. My mother cried openly now. My father's jaw tightened as if he didn't trust himself to speak. The dean cleared his throat and said something about the ceremony continuing. But the truth was, the ceremony didn't matter anymore. Nothing did. This night had already rewritten everything. My sister's reputation, my parents' perception, my future, my past, and my own heart. When the ceremony finally ended, I walked out into the night air. It was cool. Still, almost too quiet. I thought I would feel relieved, vindicated, triumphant. But instead, I felt like a bruise that had learned to walk, invisible pain living under healed skin. My parents approached me carefully, like approaching a wounded animal. My mom whispered, "Liam, we're so sorry. We didn't know." My father added, "We should have paid attention. We should have protected you." I swallowed the ache in my throat. "You can start now," I said. That was all. No forgiveness. Not yet. Just a beginning. Clara stayed behind on the steps of the auditorium, sitting alone under the lights. Her silhouette looked smaller than I had ever seen it. But I didn't go back. I couldn't. Maybe someday, but not tonight. Because tonight was the ending of something that should never have begun. The ending of trust that had been cracked quietly for years. The ending of guilt that wasn't mine. The ending of a shadow that had followed me through every achievement. Tonight, I walked away as someone new. Not broken, not bitter, but free. Free from the lie. Free from the guilt. Free from the weight of being the sibling who always forgave, even when forgiveness meant bleeding silently. As I reached the parking lot, I looked back one last time. The doors of the auditorium glowed warm behind the glass. Inside, people whispered, processed, judged, questioned. But outside, under the dark, wide-open sky, I finally felt like I could breathe. A new life waited for me. A clean start. An unburdened road. And as I walked toward my car, I realized something powerful. Sometimes the truth doesn't destroy you. Sometimes it finally sets you free. And tonight, I walked away free.